The Middleton Public Library Building and Space Needs, presented by David Reed of the Library Building Committee.
Thank you, Brendan. This presentation on the future of the library is the result of the last 2 years' work, and we would like to share it with you and other members of the community. Public libraries are highly trusted institutions, rooted in the communities they serve. Public library has become a key partner in sustaining the educational, economic, and civic health of the community. And public libraries inspire learning and empower people of all ages. They promote a better, trained, and educated citizenry. They ensure access and provide civic space for the common good. And they are engines of economic development within their communities. There is a 21st century movement in public libraries to evolve from their traditional role as a repository of materials to a space for learning and community connection. Published in 2014, there is a landmark report entitled Rising to the Challenge, Re-envisaging Public Libraries. The report by the Aspen Institute highlights the changing nature of public libraries. And here's a 2-minute introduction of the library of the future.
Suddenly something is possible, not only here in the United States, but globally. This is an amazing opportunity. The moment we are at makes the Gutenberg Revolution look potentially puny. Every book, every idea, every image, every archive, every piece of information should not only be available for free, online, anytime, anywhere, but needs to be curated and linked so that anyone in the world can engage in the creative activity that we all rely on to build a better world. The possibilities of everyone in the world having access and being able to join us in a conversation of rethinking and reimagining, we all have a vision of what is now possible.
The Middleton Public Library is a highly successful library that offers more services and is busier than ever. But its physical space needs to evolve to continue to serve its patrons in the future. For Middleton Public Library, this means adding new spaces to accommodate growing and changing collections, providing flexible community spaces for different sizes, expanding and partitioning youth spaces, and developing dedicated technology spaces. For instance, this image of a new building is of our neighboring Verona Public Library that was built in 2006. The Board of Trustees responsibility is the development and future planning for the library. It's one of its most important roles. With today's emerging technologies and ever-changing library landscape, the board felt it was a critical time to engage in a planning study. The board chose to work with Dimensions 4 of Madison, a firm known for their expertise in working with local libraries including Verona, McFarland, and New Glarus. This process focused intensively on hearing from our community. The study incorporated public listening sessions, surveys, small focus groups, and interviews with stakeholders. The listening session alone produced over 700 pieces of distinct feedback, a record amount in Dimension 4's experience with similar studies. The next few images examine just a few of the issues that currently affect our library. For this presentation, we are focused on current shortages. Shortly after the current library opened in 1991, it had approximately 50,000 items in the collection. Today, there are over 120,000 physical items, more than twice the original holdings. Importantly, people still value the library for its traditional physical collections. A sentiment that came through over and over again in the study was, "Don't get rid of books." Even though our digital offerings are increasing, physical items, including books, aren't going anywhere. Some are just changing in format. We may not yet know what these formats of the future will be, but this study details the future needed space to accommodate them. At this time, the library is offering more materials and formats than ever before. To be a dynamic 21st century library, we have to continue to offer the collection that the community so strongly value, but to do so, more space is needed. This graph compares current collection space allocations to current needs in 3 areas. In some areas, such as the children's collection, more than twice the current space is needed to meet the Department of Public Instructors' recommendations. And as I'm sure many patrons have seen, the shelves are at capacity. The library can't expand the collection to meet demand, and there is no room to grow. In fact, we can't have a collection in any area that meets the recommended level because there is just not enough space. The public library is user-centered. It operates as a third place in the community to bring people together to support learning and civic engagement, the other two being home and work. The public library comes alive when it is teeming with people from all walks of life. It is the family room of a community. Currently, the library offers 4 small study spaces available to the public and staff by reservation. That reservation schedule is packed. Rooms aren't soundproofed and are unfortunately located in a quiet area, and that often creates a disturbance. And the rooms only comfortably accommodate groups of 4 or fewer. And the Archer meeting rooms, space for large meetings or community activity space. Again, the schedule is packed. Library events are limited due to crowded schedule. Opportunities for public bookings are extremely limited. Large events frequently exceed capacity of this space, and access through the lobby staircase and elevator is awkward. The modern library is event-focused. As this graph shows, Middleton's programming offerings for all ages have increased dramatically in the past 20 years, and at this point are limited by space. With more varied and flexible spaces, the library could offer even more programming, while also providing needed spaces for other community groups, events, and meetings. It is important to note in this graph that this is only library-sponsored events. It does not include community groups using the space. Patrons in our listening sessions commented on our inadequate youth spaces more than any other concern. A common comment was, "I heavily use youth programs throughout the year and would like to see a bigger space for kids to enjoy the library when we visit, a place that is whimsical and fun to investigate." And another comment, "I would love to see an expanded children's library and more children's program offerings." Three current issues come to the fore. The children's area is not a discrete special place dedicated to the library's youngest users, as in many other libraries. As such, it creates noise for other library users. The children's area is often crowded. The storytime room is small and is often overcrowded. The children's area doesn't provide adequate dedicated space for subdivisions of youth. The teen space is small, and there is no tween space nor dedicated early literary spaces. As this chart demonstrates, Middleton's children's area is proportionally small when compared to similar-sized area libraries. The relatively small size limits the amount of new materials, collections, and early literacy resources and spaces the library can offer families and young patrons. Again, remember this illustrates the current situation. The Middleton Library is dedicated to facilitating digital literacy in the community. When the library opened in 1990, it didn't offer technical education. Today, the library is a community hub for access to free internet, computers, and digital learning. Additionally, there is now a vast digital library that supports over 175,000 items, including e-books, electronic audiobooks, databases that need staff support. In 2015, there were 140 technology events, which ranged from one-on-one tutorial sessions to interactive group classes. Currently, there is no dedicated technology learning space. All of the innovative Media Maker Lab programming, for example, takes place in the lower level computer lab. This displaces adult patrons from using the lab and creates a computer shortage. It unfortunately creates noise and activity in designated quiet space. It is an inadequate space for accommodating growing class sizes. It doesn't provide a place to station more advanced technology tools and doesn't position the library as forward-thinking in technology services and educational needs. The library building is 26 years old. In addition to ongoing costly and unexpected repair issues with the current building, it was not built with many of its present uses in mind. Some context to the world in 1990, when the library first opened its doors. The population of Middleton was approximately 13,000. Today it is over 18,000. During the day, the Middleton population swells by about 8,600 to about 26,700. On an international scene, East and West Germany reunified. The first web page was created. And here in Middleton had not seen the UW Medical Foundation with 650 employees, Spectrum Brands with another 560, Veterans Health Administration with 350 employees, and Fiskars, now under construction, for nearly 300 employees. Our world is different today than it was in 1990, and the need at the library are different. The library needs to be a facility that not only meets today's needs, but embraces the openness and flexibility needed to thrive in the constantly changing world of tomorrow. Middleton is a community that prides itself on its resources and educational profile, and the library is part of this reputation. It's important to recognize the importance of the library to downtown Middleton. Keep library downtown was heard repeatedly in the study findings. The library is an economic engine and anchor for downtown. Over 1,000 people a day visit the library and also visit neighboring businesses and city resources. In a 2008 study, the Wisconsin Department of Instruction found that for every $1 tax dollar spent on library services, the economic return to the community is $4.06 in spending by staff, spending on library operations and construction, and spending by visitors. The 21st Century Library is a community center. It works to support community services across city departments. Consider, for instance, how a new public library would fit into the larger downtown environment, working with the Senior Citizen Center, City Hall, the downtown business community, and many others to provide integrated facilities that serve the entire community. To explore this, we need to work in partnership with you, our local government and community leaders, to think critically about the future of Middleton and its downtown. Responding to the feedback that we have received from city officials, we are considering financing options beyond the traditional public funding. Re-envisaging the role of the library requires a unity of purpose and action by all of our community stakeholders, and we hope that many of you seeing this presentation will continue to support the library as you have in the past.